There is another race that's starting to heat up, even though we're less than a year into President Obama's second term. We're talking about the race for president. Last night, New York Senator Chuck Schumer urged Hillary Clinton to run for the White House, saying she'd lead his party to victory. And today, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is traveling around New Jersey as he runs for re-election in what's widely seen as a test run for president himself. David Gregory is moderator of Meet the Press. David, good morning. Great to see you.
Morning, Lester. Thanks.
Schumer, in his endorsement of Hillary Clinton, said she has his full and unwavering support. He went on to say that with her, his party can vanquish Ted Cruz, the Tea Party Republicans in 2016. I'm curious, does this start to sound like the beginning, perhaps, of a series of coordinated and carefully timed endorsements to give her candidacy a ring of invincibility or inevitability?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's the right instinct. As I talk to supporters of Hillary Clinton, they're unabashed about saying that she's running, that all signs point toward it, even though there are some who still cling to the idea that she needs to be persuaded to make the final decision, and maybe that's, of course, the case. But it's all lining up that way. I think she'll be very careful about an air of inevitability. That's what she had with Barack Obama, and we know how that turned out. So I think she's got to find a way to recalibrate that and really have a message that's her own, while at the same time sticking very close to Barack Obama. That's the legacy she served in his administration that she's going to want to carry on.
Kind of wonder if it's also meant to discourage other Democratic challengers.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, there's the likes of Elizabeth Warren or anyone who would challenge Hillary Clinton from the left with a more progressive approach. And I think that we typically see that in primary fights. And I think there'll be some early rumblings of that in an early effort.
Yeah, on the Republican side, we mentioned New Jersey Governor Chris Christie facing re-election. He's got a big lead, but yet he still has something like 90 stops, a 90-stop week-long bus tour on his schedule. Does he appear to be testing the waters for a presidential run?
Without a doubt. And look at the language he's using. He spoke to our colleague Kelly O'Donnell overnight, and he was making the point that he knows that New Jersey will be looked at, that there'll be reverberations. He wants to be a leadership model for the Republican Party. Think about the Republican Party right now. There's actually governance going on among Republican governors and more opposition going on at the national level, resistance to President Obama's policies. I think Chris Christie is going to lay his case out there and say, I've led, I've governed, and here's a blueprint for how a Republican can do it. It reminds me a lot of former President Bush, who, while he came from a Republican state of Texas, really built on his idea of governance and even getting along with Democrats.
And we don't forget Mitt Romney, of course, took a pass on Christie as a running mate. Kelly O'Donnell caught up with Christie yesterday, as you mentioned, and asked him about this new book that says Mitt Romney had serious concerns about Christie because of perhaps some baggage. Here's what he had to say.
When the Romney team talks about maybe some landmines during the vetting process last time around, does that plant any seeds of concern?
No, because any of that stuff that was in the book was all stuff that was litigated in the 2009 campaign, and it'll be litigated again in the future. I understand that. But the fact is that these are just two guys trying to sell a book.
I got to tell you, David, if there are landmines out there, doesn't it work to his advantage to get those out now so they don't become an issue if he runs?
Right. Maybe not now, but maybe over the course of the next year. You know, it's also in that book is Governor Romney saying, yeah, some of these issues might have been litigated in 2009, but nothing is actually litigated in a governor's race. The point being, when you run for president, it's a whole different level of scrutiny. And I think Governor Christie understands that. I think he also understands that his weight, his health is going to be an issue. And that was something that weighed on the mind of Governor Romney.